Cluster analysis is a popular technique used in data analysis to identify groups of objects or data points that share similar characteristics. There are different types of cluster algorithms that can be used for this purpose, each with its own advantages and limitations. In this short video, we will discuss the different categories of cluster algorithms to help you get into this fascinating world of data management. First up, we have amongst cluster algorithms is hierarchical clustering. Hierarchical clustering is a method that creates a hierarchy of clusters by iteratively merging or splitting clusters based on the similarity or distance between data points. There are two types of hierarchical clustering, agglomerative and divisive. Agglomerative clustering starts with each data point as a separate cluster and then iteratively merges the closest pairs of clusters until all data points belong to a single cluster. Divisive clustering, on the other hand, starts with all data points in a single cluster and then iteratively splits the cluster into smaller clusters until each data point is in its own cluster. Next, we have partitional clustering as the second category of cluster algorithms. Partitional clustering is a method that divides data points into a fixed number of clusters based on the similarity or distance between data points. The most commonly used algorithm for partitional clustering is k-means clustering, which partitions data points into k-clusters by minimizing the sum of squared distances between data points and their cluster centroids. K-means clustering is computationally efficient and works well for large datasets. Following closely as the third category of cluster algorithms is density-based clustering. Density-based clustering is a method that identifies clusters based on areas of high density in the data space. The most commonly used algorithm for density-based clustering is DSCAN, density-based spatial clustering of applications with noise, which groups together data points that are close to each other and have a minimum number of neighbors within a specified radius. We move on to the fourth category of cluster algorithms, which is model-based clustering. Model-based clustering is a method that assumes a probabilistic model for the data and uses statistical inference to identify clusters. The most commonly used algorithm for model-based clustering is Gaussian mixture model, GM, which assumes that the data points are generated from a mixture of Gaussian distributions. As we journeyed through the most common types of data clustering analyses, you would have realized that cluster analysis is a powerful technique used in data analysis to identify groups of objects or data points that share similar characteristics. There are different categories of cluster algorithms, including hierarchical clustering, partitional clustering, density-based clustering, and model-based clustering. Each category has its own advantages and limitations, and the choice of algorithm depends on the nature of the data and the objectives of the analysis. Remember, practice makes perfect.